Hello, everybody. We are live at our first webcast through Crowdcast. I'm Ben Sturf. I hope everyone's doing great. This is the first webcast of our contest through Hackster.io, and I'm pretty stoked about the contest as is. I want to cut to my desktop really quick and show you guys what we have. If you're not familiar with the contest, it's Exploring Cellular IoT with Hologram Nova and the RaspberryPi. Hologram was really stoked to partner with Hackster for this. Many of you, everyone that's on here, I'm hoping is part of this contest. If you're not, the free hardware section is, or timing is expired now, but you can still register and still participate. All that you need to participate is a Raspberry Pi and Hologram Nova. And so this webcast that we're starting off this morning is going to be one of four. Today we're going to be going through Hologram and our cloud, activating a SIM and going through the basics of what's included in the platform once you sign up as a user. The next three webcasts that are all part of the same URL, but spaced out on different days, are pretty cool, so I hope you come back. One of them is about building a cellular gateway, where we're going to be using the Raspberry Pi and a Node MCU and backhauling through cellular. The other one is highlighting special projects that others have done throughout the contest. And with each one, we're going to be ending with a Q&A. And I almost forget, one of the webcasts that I'm super stoked about. All the ideas that I see and projects that I see on Hackster are super cool. You can tell that there's a lot of hardware hackers. But when you go into IoT, there's another element that you need to think about, which is the visual side, the cloud side. So we're going to be dedicating a whole webcast on how to make your own dashboard and fire up your own web server quickly, cheaply, and have it look great across websites. And so that's going to be the other workshop that we're going to be doing, or webcast. So let's get into this one really quick. To start off, I wanted to walk through our offering that we have through Hologram. And I wanted to just spend a really quick moment going through this. I wanted to dive into the solution that we're going to be highlighting today really quick. But for those of you who don't know, Hologram has been around since 2013, and we are the largest global cellular provider for Internet of Things, or for things connecting to the internet through cellular. We have over 400 carrier partners around the globe, and one of the things that make us so easy to use is our developer API. So right away, through our dashboard or through our API, you can instantly activate a SIM, have it available globally, that one SIM available globally, and you're able to use it across all the different hardware that's out there for cellular, whether it's 2G, 3G, 4G, 4G LTE, 4G Cat M1, and 4G NB. So many things out there that one SIM card could do it all. One of the things I want to highlight really quick, if we can head back to my desktop, is something that is really dear to my heart. I would love it for everyone that's on right now to always keep this in the back of their mind when they're talking to people about hardware, and that is the Hologram Developer Plan. We came out with this a couple months back, where we wanted to give everyone access to the network for free. IoT is all about discovering, exploring new frontiers, and cellular is definitely a frontier that needs to be explored more. And so what we have is at hologram.io/devplan, you can go here, you could ask for a free SIM, you'll have to pay for shipping. Depending on where you are in the world, that might be really affordable or really expensive. Sorry, logistics is still something that needs to be disrupted. But what we then give is free access to our network every month. So there's no monthly fee, and you get 1 megabyte of data free every month, which is about 2,000 messages that you can send, or sending a message every 30 minutes to a device. And our dashboard is not locked down in any way. You got full access to the dashboard. So this is super, super exciting. One of the things that makes us really unique is our hardware. and we have a couple pieces of hardware. Even though we're not a hardware company, we're all about pushing the boundaries of cellular and IoT, and sometimes those boundaries that need to be pushed is hardware. So all the hardware that we produce is completely open source and available on GitHub, and we really just produce it and we sell it near cost just to get it out there so more people can be using cellular. We also pair that with great software, firmware, or SDKs, so it's really easy to get going. Those of you who are on here and are part of the contest are probably familiar with the Nova. It just recently came out, and it's meant for single board computers. We use the USB interface so that you can plug it into almost virtually any single board computer, whether that's a BeagleBone or a Raspberry Pi or chip, and you can get cellular really easily through our Python SDK. Going forward, we're going to have different SDKs coming out for different code languages, and we're going to eventually come around to supporting OpenWRT as well, which is things like the Onion board and Arduino. And the last thing I wanted to touch on really quick was the Dash. So we've had the Dash for a while. I'm going to wait for it to load up. And the Dash is our open source microcontroller. So what's really awesome about this is a dual chip architecture, which is really neat if you guys are interested in designing your own hardware. This is a really cool thing to look at. And it has battery support already built into it. And this is if you want to go a little bit lower level and you wanted to develop with the Arduino IDE and C++ and kind of bypass the single board computers. So this is available, and it's a real hot item. We sell out of this quite a bit. And yeah, that is pretty much Hologram in our products. I wanted to jump now to my table here, and I kind of wanted to show you the solution that we're going to be building today. Boom. All right. Where's my hands? There they are. Woohoo! Okay. So guys, everyone, this is the Hologram Nova. And the first step that I wanted to do is unbox this and go through the experience and walk through what's in here, so everyone that is getting a kit can kind of see firsthand. We had some questions here where some people had kits and they were like, where is the SIM card? Well, I'm going to show you where the SIM card is. The SIM card actually comes, every time you buy a Nova, you get a free SIM card with it. So let's open this up. All right, quick start guide. Boom. The Nova and all the extra stuff. Pull this out. And there it is, the SIM card. Hooked up. Very cool. All right, so what I want to do is something pretty ambitious for this workshop, which is activate this live, plug this in, and get it going.
It'll surely work.
I hope it works. So let's do this. This is a really great getting started guide. We're not going to go through it here, but everyone who gets a Nova, I really encourage you to go through it. It will help you get the SDK installed on your Raspberry Pi and walk you through the basics of getting the hardware going and the CLI. All right, let's open this sucker up. All right, so for everyone to know, is this going to get in focus? No, that's okay. All right. So there's a couple reasons why we picked this architecture. Some people love it, some people criticize it. I just want to take this moment to kind of defend why we did what we did. We really wanted to target single board computers, and so that's why you'll see a USB rather than a pinout. But what you can do is you could switch that out if you wanted to and purely hack this thing. There is no microchip on this. This is a straight bypass right into the U-Blocks module. Along the bottom, you can't really see it, but I have really small solder pads on here too, exposing all the additional GPIO pins that this module has available to it. So this is really expandable, and it's meant for someone to quickly get going if you're a hobbyist. But if you're looking to build your own product and you don't want to go to custom hardware just yet, you could hack this thing together and seamlessly move into production if you want in the future. Another thing that people comment on is there is no integrated antenna. And those of you who have worked with cellular before know that you don't really want to work with an integrated antenna. depending on where you are, your antenna is a very important aspect of it. So you really want to go big or small, and also depending on the type of module that you're using. This is a 2G, 3G, but if you had a 4G, then you would need a whole different antenna setup. And so having the external antenna is a really helpful thing. What we have in the pack here is 2 antennas, and you're not meant to use both of them at once, but really what you're meant to do is pick and choose. If you are in an area that has lots of coverage already, then this really small antenna is going to be great. It's small, it can fold over and fit inside the case. But if you're in an area where coverage is kind of spotty, or you need to just have a stronger signal, and you're having a difficult time achieving that, then we have a little bit larger of a ribbon cable. And this isn't, I'm not saying this is the perfect solution, but it definitely will do a better job than the smaller one. And there are duck antennas that will do an even better job. So being able to expand on this is really helpful. So let's go ahead and jump to my desktop really quick, and we are going to go ahead and activate this thing live. Or actually, you know what? Pause. I tricked you. Let's put this thing together really quick. That way then we don't have to jump back here. Okay. I really want to point out, and you can't really see it at the top here through this video, or maybe you can, there's a little silk screen on how the SIM should go in. This is really important. A lot of the troubleshooting questions that we get is people putting the SIM in wrong, because you can certainly put it in upside down or sideways or whatnot. So if you look at it here, this is how it goes in. If you see the hologram icon at the top, you're doing great. Boom, all the way in. I'm going to connect this big fancy antenna.
A little bit closer to the table.
A little bit closer to the table?
Yeah.
Ah, right on. Cool. I feel so special today, everyone, because I have my producer Chris Gamble with me in the back, and I wish you could see the setup that he's made for us here. I am blown away. No, man, seriously. Okay, so we're in a really cool stellar makerspace right now, but I'm not sure about the coverage, so I'm going to use this really big antenna. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and take this. I got the code on the back here. We're going to go switch to my desktop, and we're going to go ahead and activate this. All right. Let's open up the dashboard, and the very first thing I'm going to do is log out, because I really don't want to use this account. I'm going to be super ambitious. I'm going to sign up as a brand new user. Oh, brother, I don't know if I should be doing this or not. You know what? I'm going to...
So why is that, Mister?
Why?
Yeah.
For everyone who knows me, I'm kind of crazy.
This is demos.
It's demos. Like everyone says, do not do live coding when you do demos. But you know what? I'm the Benster. I do this kind of stuff. I get myself into trouble. You're supposed to get into the weeds and then work yourself out.
Yes.
So.
Chris from the stream says the law of demos. Yes.
I laugh in the face of law. No, I should not say that. Oh my gosh, I'm just about to do a demo. I really got to be humble about this. All right, so I'm going to make a new user. Oh, here we go. Cool. I don't know. What should I do? Okay, people, try not to guess what that is. Oh, hey, this is a really great time to talk about this. Everyone, our CEO is called Ben Forgan. My name is Ben. I'm Ben Strahan. And how do we differentiate? I call myself Benster. And my last name, since it's Strahan, it starts with STR, and so that's what I moved over. So Benster without an E. Wherever you guys see me, if you shout out Benster, I'll answer that. If you say Ben, I'll just assume you're talking to someone else and not me. And if you want to email me, make sure to email at benster@hologram.io and not Ben, because our CEO is going to be like, who are you? But anyway, that's what Ben looks like. All right, cool. So let's see what we got here. Oh no. We're going to try this one more time, and then if it doesn't work, I'm not going to do it. Email verification. All right. Your account has been verified. Woohoo, we are in. All right. It's on like Donkey Kong. All right. Let's activate the SIM. I want to do this live because a lot of people have questions about this when they're activating the SIM. We try to make it as simple as possible, but the questions still arise. So on the SIM card itself, the actual real small thing that we inserted into the Nova, and on the card, both of them possess a unique number. They're both the same number, so wherever you grab it from, it will be the same. Go ahead and put the whole number in. Let's see here. I'm going to double check this. 8944502. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm really glad that I'm talking to the Hackster community right now, because if I was anywhere else, they'd probably troll me and activate this SIM card before me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the developer plan. You can do pay-as-you-go or developer. Developer is going to give you 1 megabyte a month, plus you don't have to pay anything for activation, so 0 cost right now. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that. And just like that, there's no questions asked. You don't have to call someone. You don't have to have like a crazy rep or anything like that, or any issues. It's going to instantly go out and propagate across the network. You know, when I just said that, I felt like I was a guy like selling knives on an infomercial. You know, hey, wherever you are in the world, go ahead and pick up that SIM. Yes, this SIM, the one that says hologram, and go ahead and activate it. And there's nothing except for the number, and you hit activate, and you got it, woo, around the world. So call the 800 number, shipping and handling. Anyway, okay, so let's update this. And we're going to click on this device. It's still activating, but right off the bat, I'm just going to name this something. Yeah. Demo 1. Very cool. And while it's activating, I wanted to kind of walk through this. We are, on the left-hand side, if you can see that, yeah, great. We have 3 areas that you can navigate to. I'm going to be going through the devices right now. So I only have 1 device activated.
Yes, you can make your browser a little bigger.
My browser, oh, yeah, totally. Sorry, guys. How's that look?
That's good.
Yeah, great. Cool. And in here, what we have is a couple things that are really cool, unique to this device. Right off the bat, you can simulate, or you could send data from our dashboard to a device. This is using TCP or UDP. And you could also do this through any third-party app or your own website, but we just made a nice UI for you. Otherwise, you would go through our API. Same with SMS. So you can go ahead and send an SMS down to the device. Yeah, and you can also simulate that through the API as well. So if you wanted to do the opposite, and you want to simulate something coming from the device going into the cloud, you can go ahead and do this. We're going to come back to this in a second when we go through console and routes. But just know that if you're testing out the cloud and you're building that first and your hardware's not ready yet, or you just want to make sure that the cloud is set up correctly, this is where you'd simulate data coming through. On the configuration page, it's pretty cool. You can have a unique inbound webhook for your device. You can purchase a cell phone number. You don't get a number included for free with the dev plan. It's $1 a month, which is pretty affordable. But you don't really need a phone number.
So there's a question.
Sure.
The thing about how does cellular cost compare to Sigfox and LoRa? But just because you're talking about costs, and so like maybe you can talk about our cost real quick. Like, what's the usual cost of a device?
Interesting. Cool. So what's really cool about Hologram, and I'll touch on the cellular thing really quick right now. The reason why we're so popular in the space that we're at is how we bill. and our coverage. So coverage is one thing. We make it super simple. Activation is another. But then the cost. Since we're just devices, you get great pricing as if you have like 1,000 devices. But if you have one, and as a developer, we pass that great pricing right down to you right away. It's 60 cents per megabyte. And a lot of people think that's a lot. But with dealing with all the carriers that we do, we need to find a fair ground for them all. And one thing that we really try to negotiate really hard, and what we've achieved and what I'm really stoked about, is you don't want to pay per megabyte. You really want to pay for a much smaller unit. And so what we actually bill out is per kilobyte. So it's 0.00006 cents per kilobyte. And that's pretty amazing. And so whatever your units are, chances are you're not going to use a megabyte, or you're just going to use a couple megabytes. You're talking about a real low amount. To compare, a lot of people, if you want to use 1 megabyte and you want to have a SIM activated on the global network, some people go for anywhere from $3 a month, $2.99 a month to $5 a month to have that activated. On our plan, the dev plan gives you 1 meg and the SIM, and it's free each month. But if you weren't going to use the dev plan and you're going to scale up to multiple SIMs, that would be $1 a month about. So 60 cents for the first megabyte, and then we charge 40 cents for MRC, monthly recurring cost, which gives you access to the network. Really, when you go into LoRaWAN and Sigfox, you're going to choose those things because that's what the project requires. You're not going to choose it because of price. So really, if your unit requires it doesn't require a lot of bandwidth, and it's really power constrained, and you have really, really small messages, and you don't require like inbound access to your device, all those things make a great case for LoRaWAN or Sigfox. Sigfox is really cool because they'll provide a platform, just like our platform is for cellular. So depending on what your end goal is, you pick one or the other. LoRaWAN is something else where you need to deploy your own gateways and make your own network. But I would totally check out the Things network. So that's growing in every city around the globe, and so that would be pretty solid. Was there another question, or was it Sigfox?
That was just because it was talking about cost structure.
Cool. Right on. All right, let's go back to the dashboard. And we're going to hit Q&A at the very end. So we're going to jump through this and keep on going. Awesome. If you wanted to, the next thing is a device key. If you wanted to send data through keys, which we call our CRS keys, then you could do it this way. I'm going to not generate these keys because I'm going to show you a really cool way where you don't need to do any key management called TOTP. And then device tunneling, we're not going to get into this right now, but in further workshops or webcasts, we're going to get into it. But device tunneling is something that we call Space Bridge, and Space Bridge allows you to SSH remotely into your Raspberry Pis, which is really cool. So, you're going to develop with Raspberry Pis on your desktop, on your desk right next to you, but when you deploy it out into the world, it's going to be miles away from you, hundreds of miles. And if you want to SSH into that and have a terminal, then this will give you a way to do that, which is super cool. You can always change your plans and get a usage report, and so it's pretty solid. All right, so with that, our SIM should be activated. It is live. Awesome. Ooh, ooh. And what we're going to do now is boop, boop, boop. All right, we're going to cut back to my desktop here, my table. Awesome. I'm going to remove power from this thing. I'm going to get rid of that, put in the Nova, the new Nova. And I'm going to explain a little bit of what we're doing right now. So we're about, approaching 30 minutes in, and I don't want to walk through the solution, or I don't want to show you the code too much of what we're doing because we're just walking through the dashboard today. But in this short demo, what I have is a DHT temperature humidity, digital temperature and humidity sensor hooked up here. And I'm going to be reading this every 30 seconds and sending it through cellular. So I'll have a tutorial on this. I think I'll put that up probably tomorrow morning on Hackster. And we could shoot out an email so that all you guys, everyone that's on this webcast can check it out. I'm going to go back to my screen here. Thank you, Chris. You are amazing, bro. Okay. So, what do we got? Nice. I'm using Platform IO here. I'm just using it to code right now. So I'm not using any of the Platform IO tools, but I definitely recommend it. It's using the Atom IDE underneath, and that is a pretty stellar platform. So I'm just going to touch really quick on this, just so everyone can see it, and then we're going to fire it up and have it start sending to the cloud. So, awesome. All right. So in the code here, I am using Adafruit's DHT library, which is pretty cool. I import it at the top. Next, I import the Hologram cloud in time, because I need some sleeping. And I'm going to skip down really quick to the important parts. Right here in Hologram Cloud, I'm instantiating a new object for this. And usually what you pass in first is your keys for your device, your CSR keys. But I didn't generate any of those. And instead, I'm going to pass in an empty dictionary. And I'm going to tell it to use the network cellular. And I'm going to go ahead and connect to the network. And I'm going to scroll past this. I have some functions that are doing simple things. But here's the loop right here. So I'm going to be sleeping every 30 seconds. So which means every 30 seconds, I'm going to get the humidity. I'm going to get the temperature. The sensor is pretty slow, so I'm going to just sleep for a second while the sensor grabs its information. And then I'm going to go ahead and print this out to make sure locally that I got the information, and then we're going to send it up. So I have this this function called send message. I'm going to dive into that right now, which is really simple. Right here, we're just going to call hologram.sendMessage. We're going to pass in a string, and we're going to pass in the topics that we send. Topics are a way that you can just organize the messages that you're sending in. And when we get back to the dashboard, I'm going to show you what we can do with the topics here. And if it's successful, that's great. The message was successful. If we get an error, which I hope we don't, it's going to say the error and the error type. And then I have a link to where we could get more information on what the errors are. So that's pretty much the code in the nutshell. And what we're going to do right now then is we're going to stay here. And I'm going to VNC into here. I typically don't VNC. I usually SSH. But for this, I'm going to do it. Here. So what I have here is main.py, which is the code that we just went through. And you guys can't see that, can you? That's not too good. Let's see here. Let's do this instead. Cool. Calling it audible. All right. Cool. That is much bigger, much better for you guys to see. Awesome. I'm going to kill this VNC. Awesome. Great. Cool. So we have main.py in here, and all I'm going to do is run it. And let's see what we get. So in 30 seconds, we should get some temperature going in, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we get some activity up in the cloud. All right, so we got the temperature coming in, and success, the message was sent. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut over to the table, great, And one thing that I totally messed up with kind of, how can we focus this a little bit more? All right. There we are. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So blue for the Nova represents that that you have power going to it. Now red, I'm sorry, before, if you guys noticed, this was blinking. When it blinks, that means that the network is available. When it's solid, that means you're connected to the network. So right now, when I called Hologram Connect, I'm connected to the network, and now I can send messages through TCP. What I'm going to do is, I got this really blazing hot cup of coffee. I'm going to put this right on top. Now this is awesome. Like this is how you do things live. You put liquids on top of electronics.
Don't do that.
This is how we do it. All right, let's see if it jumps up. You know what? I think this coffee's been here too long. It's like not hot anymore. Let's give it another 30 seconds and see if it pops up. Oh, ooh, ooh. So, how's everyone doing today?
So I just posted a poll on what
nice.
we're developing on.
Very cool. 73, woohoo! Okay, good. I'm glad that works. All right, so we have a number of messages sent up in the cloud. So what I want to go next is back into the dashboard, and I want to highlight our console. And we already have 4 messages here, so it's working. This is amazing. So this is the second out of the 3 navigation top nav on the dashboard that I wanted to go through. So you could see real time the messages that are coming through, and with that, the topics that come through. So I have status coming through on this, and that was the topic that we passed through. And there we go, a new one came in. And so pretty solid. Still 73.4. Man, these DHT11s are so slow. Anyway, what's really cool is you could filter by device on here. You can have it while you are in the dashboard. You can have this halfway up and check it out. Right now, I have just my main device here going, which is device ID 15705, device 155705. I can exit out of that, and it will actually show me everything. So if you have multiple devices, you could see the whole stream of things that are coming through. I'm just going to check my notes to make sure I didn't skip something on that. Cool. All right. And now for the third and final thing, and then we could jump into some questions, is routes. So we're going to stay here. So what I want to do now is I want to add routes. And the cool thing with Hologram, right now you guys might be thinking, before we dive into this, like, oh, Ben, you got device management. You have the ability to send data up into your cloud, and now you're going to route data. It seems like an end-to-end solution. But really, the really neat thing about Hologram is our philosophy about developers first. I'm going to cut to me really quick, if you could. Hello. Okay, here I am. So the really neat thing about what we do is our opinion about everything, our three main offerings, which is our SIM card, our hardware, and then our cloud, is that they should be independent from one another. You should be able to pick and choose what makes sense for the project that you're working on. So if you're making something really quick, and it's something for your house or personal experimentation or R&D department, it probably makes sense to just use the whole platform. It's really simple. There's documentation and examples online for all that. But if, say, you love the hardware, but our coverage doesn't work for where you're at, our hardware is never locked to our SIM. So you can go ahead and plug in another SIM. I don't want you guys to do that. So if we don't have coverage somewhere, definitely message us because we're always adding carriers. But the reality is we don't have all the carriers in the world. So all our hardware is unlocked. And same with our cloud. We prefer that you use the cloud. A lot of great examples, a lot of usage out there, but you don't need to use it. So you could use any SIM and the hardware and send it to any cloud. In this webcast, we're using our cloud. And lastly, the hardware. So you don't need to use our hardware. This is one thing that a lot of people get confused with, is do I need to use hardware on the Hologram network? You can use any hardware. Adafruit has a lot of hardware. You can use any other USB dongles on our network. And you can use anything that is integrated already out there. There's a number of MCUs that have cell modules on top of it. A popular one's the Electron. There's another one out of Mexico that I really love. I'm forgetting the name of them right now. But it's pretty solid stuff, and you could pop RSIMs in there as well, and it will work. So let's go back to my screen. Boom. All right, so here we are on the route. I'm going to do email me. I'm going to name that. Cool. And every time I have something called, something that has the topic of status, which that's what we sent in the code, I want it to email me. This really shines for topics. I definitely do not want all my traffic that's coming through this account to be emailed to me, just the stuff that's status. And down here we have a number of integrations. My favorite one is advanced webhooks, where you could post to anything and modify the headers. A lot of people are using this for AWS or Microsoft IoT, Azure IoT. But as time goes on, we're going to be building out one-off integrations with other partners out there in the world. So if you have a really popular one that you really enjoy, go ahead and pop in our forums, in our community forums, and request it. And we'll go out and contact them and make it happen. We have a number of them in the pipeline right now, so I'm pretty excited for the next months to come. But for this, we're going to be using one that we have already built in, which is the email. And I'm going to go ahead and email myself. And I'm just going to, there we go. So deck data is not the greatest name. We're thinking about changing that. But pretty much that is your string or your object that you sent to the cloud. We're just going to send it pass through. You could modify it. And if it was an object, you could do deck data.temp if that was a key. We're going to dive into this more in further webcasts where we're going to really get advanced. But this, I want to do a general overview. So here we go. So email me, and it's on. I'm going to go ahead and open up my email. And here we go. Cool. I'm going to filter this. All right, so this was a receipt from my dev plan. And let's see if an email comes through on here. And really quick, just while we were, I know a lot of you have emailed me during the time. Yeah, cool. I know a lot of people have emailed me while this contest has started, and I'm super excited. I've started to work through the emails and getting back to everyone, but unfortunately I haven't gotten through everyone, so if I haven't gotten back to you yet, please be patient and email me again if you want to get bumped to the top. But yeah, or DevRel. Yeah. So if you want to go to a more general one, devrel@hologram.io will also bring in Chris Gamble, and he'll be able to help us as well. Oh, now if we cut back to the screen, yes, boom. All right, so we've had 2 messages come in, which means every 30 seconds, that means I talked for a minute, and crazy talker. And here we are, so we got messages coming through. And so that is a simple example of being able to quickly use a Nova, activating the SIM, use our SDK, and send data up into the cloud. And this is kind of like where I wanted to stop today and open up to Q&A and kind of answer your questions. One thing that we didn't touch on that I'm pretty excited to touch on for the next workshop is inbound data, which we'll definitely get into. But we have a number of tutorials already up on Hackster if you want to dive into how to get data back down to your device. Cool. So with that, we'll cut back to the camera, and we're going to go to the questions.
Do you have any tips on powering projects? A lot of them are mobile projects and require the Pi 0 to always be on.
Power is like... So there's 2 things that are difficult in IoT. It is connectivity and power. Those are the 2 limiting factors. You can make whole companies around those 2 solutions. And so That's pretty much what Hologram does with connectivity. With power, everyone laughs at me because when I do Raspberry Pi stuff, I have like this monster battery that I carry around with me everywhere to be remote. But everyone that has received a kit has gotten a Raspberry Pi Zero, a 0W, and surprisingly that's really energy efficient. The most energy efficient Pi is the Pi 1, right? The Model A.
Really?
Yeah. I might be getting that wrong, the 2. But it's pretty much, it's the one that's the same form factor as the 3, but it's like a solid square. It's not a rectangle, and it has no network capabilities on it, so it doesn't have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It's super efficient. You might
future projects will be doing with solar and batteries.
Solar and power. I want to do one more thing before we pass on this question. When you add cellular to a product, the power requirements are just going to jump right now, and that's because the technology that we're using just hasn't met IoT yet. We're using old generation 3G, 2G. That's what we get. 4G is even more energy consuming and really expensive, and that's why you don't really see a lot of 4G products out in the market right now for the things. For our space, the makers. What's coming out, and what's really exciting because Hologram's network already supports it, is Cat M1 and NB, narrowband. Those two technologies are coming out, and the energy requirements are going to be super low, as well as the cost of the modules. So I'm really excited. I want you guys to think in the terms of like a Node MCU or an ESP module, and how affordable that is. How small that is, and the power that consumes a lot of power actually, but but that's where cellular is going. And so now you're going to have a one-for-one choice where am I going to go Wi-Fi or cellular, and you're not going to be doing a lot of trade-offs if you choose cellular, and that is where the future is going. And that's why I wanted to do this contest and start reintroducing cellular to people, because I think as time goes on, as these networks get deployed this year in 2018, it's going to explode. And we're going to have so many options. Yeah. And the Nova actually comes with 2 versions, and you can order a Cat M1 version right now. It uses one of the latest U-Blocks modules, and that is on back order right now, and that's going to be coming out in a couple weeks, I think. So super exciting. We have limited quantities of that, and but you fire it up, and it's going to work on a 4G network, I think, in North America. So.
Okay, next question.
Awesome.
Is what's the average latency in sending a message to a specific Nova device? The connection be always on to ensure the quickest response time.
Yeah, so that's going to vastly depend on your location and the network that you're on. It also depends if you're on 2G or 3G. But I know again that's kind of like skirting the question. But really, this is where testing needs to come in. I have a little side project that I'll be building out where I would love to have a map where we're able to gather data or crowdsource data on what the latency is, depending on the carrier, the location, and the technology that you're using, and kind of open source that to the market. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely hit me up in the email, and maybe we could develop something together. One thing, though, that I want to talk about before passing on this question is SMS. I do not like using SMS. And a lot of the tutorials that you see out there, a lot of the existing things, blog posts and whatnot out in the internet and interwebs about cellular is using SMS. I know that the tool chain on the modules to use SMS is really simple. I know firing up a TCP or UDP connection requires more code. The reason why we are using SDKs in our firmware is hopefully we're making sending a raw data message much simpler than SMS. I recommend never using SMS to send messages because the latency is so brutal. It is so brutal going through circuit switch messages. So don't ever do that. The only reason why you would use SMS is if you want to put a module in low power mode, and in order to wake it up again, SMS, the module will be able to receive SMS. So sending SMSs to your device is a really good use case. And on Hologram, sending SMS to your device is free. We do charge for sending SMS out of the device, but really, you should never have to do that.
Great. Next question. Is the product available in industrial temperature ranges minus 45 to 85 C?
So I would refer you to the U-Blocks page for this, which we could fire that up and post that in, or pretty much you just need to research. Let's see here. What do we have on here? The Sierra U201 U-Blocks. The reason why we use U-Blocks, a lot of people tell us like, hey, it's a super expensive module, but it's the only module that's readily available that is able to be automotive grade right off the shelf. And in order to achieve automotive grade, you need to be able to operate in extreme temperatures. And so we wanted to put that in our products. And pretty much now you have industrial level components on a maker level kit. So pretty awesome.
Can you quickly talk about if this then that integration?
Yeah, sure. So let's jump to my screen. Yeah. Let's see here. Was there any more context on it?
I think they just wanted to see a demo. So.
Oh, right on. Okay. Well, you know what?
Or maybe just mention how does it hook together?
Yeah. It's really simple, actually. So if this and that allows you, they used to have a maker channel, and pretty much what that was is just a webhook. So you would just be able to create a webhook. I don't know. Here we go. See if I got this. Nope. I don't have this right off the bat. This is the wrong account.
Why don't you just show on our dashboard?
Yeah. I think I'm going to jump to that. Yeah, I don't know why that's not logging in. All right.
So the question is, do you have to create your own channel though?
Yes. Yeah. What we're looking for is people using this, and if they will, then we'll probably look to have like a custom integration to work with if this and that. Let me see if I have one here. I do. The vote machine. If you guys saw me at DEF CON, I had the vote machine going, and that was going through if this and that. Pretty much when you go ahead and make the maker, I forget what they call it, but whatever, like the maker card or whatever, then you get a webhook URL, and then you need to trigger a certain event. So you name the event that you want. And it's going to be looking for specifically value 1, value 2, and value 3. I think you can only pass 3 values to it. And so this is pretty much what you're looking for. So I think the question is, if someone's getting hung up on the if this and that, it's probably this data that you're passing right here. You're probably going to want to look at this. You can see I'm modifying it, and I'm sending deck data in right here.
Do we have any tutorials on that?
Can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. If we don't, we'll definitely make one.
Cool.
Yeah.
What antenna do you have attached on the prototype project? I have a Nova, but the locations needed don't have any coverage. What is the solution? So they're not seeing the blinking light on their device.
So there's no network available.
Right.
Interesting. Well, so the first thing that I would do is I would go to make sure that we have coverage in the area. So yeah. So the first thing is make sure you got the right zone, and if we have coverage in the area. If we do, and you do have the right zone selected, purple is zone 2, then you should have a blinking light. If you don't have a blinking light, that means you need a bigger antenna. If the larger ribbon antenna doesn't work, then before you go buy a duck antenna, which that would be my next recommendation for hardware, I would suggest that you email support@hologram.io and have them actually dive into the location that you are, and they'll be able to tell you who the carrier is and the signal strength.
So he says that this person has coverage, but the needed location has no coverage, ostensibly a remote area.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't hear that.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so the question was more so about so you got coverage in your area, but then you're bringing it out into the middle of nowhere, like some field where there isn't like a tower anywhere nearby. That is where a larger antenna would definitely come in to help. Yeah, and you really this is so.
Would 4G be better?
Yeah, so that depends on the carrier specifically there. But yeah, 4G would definitely have better coverage. So here's what I would recommend. It really depends on where you're at. There's definitely flexibility here. I might suggest that if you're in the middle of a field, maybe you want to set up a mini gateway. So in that case, maybe you would have the Raspberry Pi that has the Cellular Nova somewhere near the main roadway where I'm assuming there's better coverage there. And you can either then have a little gateway going out to a node MCU that's in the middle of the field, as an example. And that would go through Wi-Fi. Maybe Wi-Fi won't stretch long enough for you, but if it's a field, maybe you got clear line of sight, so it would. But you can always do LoRa as well. So the LoRa chips are really small. You can have a little LoRa gateway going on right there that backhauls into cellular.
This is the office utility closet, not a field.
Oh. Okay. So the next generation 4G is definitely going to help. So you have lower bands, so it'll be able to penetrate foundations and thick concrete walls. So for that context, 4G will definitely work. Yeah. And the question is, if you guys didn't hear Chris, the person responded saying that it's for a utility closet in an office. So.
What
Awesome.
is the character limitation of a message?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the limit. Yeah. So the question was, what is the character limitation for a message? And I have not run into a limit on that yet. I should check on that. Are we able to ask back and forth?
If they're still here, they can ask.
Cool.
You can tell them.
I'm curious if they've run into a limit, if that's why they're asking that.
Okay, we'll say
Yeah.
TBD.
Yeah. I totally want to experiment on that now. I think I'm going to go run up my data rates right now after this. I've sent some massive objects, so.
T-Mobile has an unlimited access plan for $25 a year. But has a volume commitment. How does this compare to Hologram's offerings?
Yeah. So we use T-Mo as well. So our network in the United States is Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile. So the first thing that you compare is coverage and flexibility. And the second one is ease of use. So usually when you go with cell carriers, there's a lot of hidden fees and prices. So I'm curious if they're using them or not. I don't want to divulge too much, but we do have people that have used T-Mo and have actually come over to Hologram, and they share with us that it was pretty painful. But I don't want to smear too much because it could be many different things. But pretty much you just want to go to the provider that works best for you. And I think for IoT, Hologram and what we're building out is the best one.
What is the difference between Zone 1 and Zone 2 countries?
So when we negotiate, so the question was, what's the difference between Zone 1 and Zone 2 countries? And when we negotiate with our carriers, it's all about pricing and the units that we bill in. And so in Zone 1, you're going to find everyone bills per kilobyte, and we have 60 cents per megabyte. On Zone 2, the carriers there either requested more money or they billed in a different increment. And so if you contact Success at hologram.io, they'll be able to share the nuances of your country with you. But really what Zone 2 is that you're paying a little bit more per megabyte.
Do topic characters count as message characters?
So the question was, does topic characters count as message characters? So it counts as data. I think that's what the question is asking. But yeah, so pretty much it's part of the message, the full message that's going through. So, yeah.
Does orientation of the antenna matter?
I would say does the orientation of the antenna matter? I would say yes. So in this example, yeah, you got me on here. All right, I got the little small antenna stuck in here. And by doing it and wrapping it around, I'm actually cutting down the reception that is available on this. If you notice, we got a little like ripped out section in the back here for the clear case. You could have the antenna come out there, and you'll have better reception on there. So yes, the orientation does matter, but not drastically. This isn't direct; they aren't directional antennas. So.
Can you confirm that the Cat M1 Nova is US only, and when can we expect pre-order for Cat M1 NB1 Nova?
Yeah. So the question was, can I confirm that the Cat M1 Nova is just US only, and when can people who have pre-ordered expect delivery? So I believe that we're going to be shipping out in a week and a half to 2 weeks. Our operations manager can always confirm that at success.hologram.io. Sorry, I'm Devrel. But I'm really itching to get it out there. And so I was told that it's a week and a half to 2 weeks right now, so that's right around the corner. And I can confirm that the first version, which uses the U-Blox R404 module, is US only. And that is going to be used only on the Verizon network, that module specifically. The future versions of the Nova that's going to be coming out will be, I believe, it's the U-Blox R410, and that one is going to include NB, and it's going to be a global compatible module, meaning that you can have different bands for carriers around the world. So NB1 and NB. No ETA on the 410. So.
Has anyone used the Nova as a backup for backing up network/internet access?
So the question was, does anyone back up their main internet connection through cellular with the Nova? I'm not aware of that, but you can certainly do that. No problem.
So basically be using it as a
So you would be using it as the backhaul for your home router. I'm guessing that's what the question is. And so you can put any Raspberry Pi. So for an example, really quick, because this is a really neat thing. Now you got me intrigued. The Raspberry Pi can turn into a Raspberry Pi has Wi-Fi built into it. So the Wi-Fi on board could be an access point, which means that everything like little devices are going into it through the access point. And then you could back channel through a hard connection, which would be like your provider. But say this goes down, you can then bypass and go through cellular. But I would recommend you get our high data plan, our gigabit plan. And the cool thing about this is when you call Hologram Connect, you're actually having a new network interface be created, which means that all traffic from this unit will be going through cellular. And it's really easy to have preferential treatment go through the wired connection. If that goes down, preferential treatment goes to the cellular. So totally doable. Good question.
Is the SDK open source? Can it contribute to the development for Java SDK specifically?
Yes. Okay, so the question was, is our Python SDK open source? So everything that we do is open source when it comes to hardware and client-side libraries. And the reason for that, again, is our three columns are agnostic from one another. So if someone wants to take the SDK and port it over to another language, you can definitely do that. If someone wants to take the SDK and use it for specifically their cloud product and rebrand it for that cloud, you can do that as well. Everything is open sourced under our GitHub organization, which is hologram_io.
And then, can we link Nova to a VoIP number purchased by other providers such as Nexmo?
So the question was, can we connect to a VoIP phone number? So pretty much connect, have another provider for phone numbers and connect it to it? Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yes.
So directly no, but indirectly yes. So the hacker inside of me is trying to think this through. So you can pretty much, if you have a server in between, you can have your device talk to the server and then use the API of Nexmo or whoever the provider is for that number and work through their API. So those people expose everything through their API. So you'd pretty much have to have a server in the middle to do that, and you have total flexibility.
So Chris has a question. Is the Nova and Dash, are they capable of sending audio?
So Chris, you?
Yeah.
Can?
I know the
okay.
answer. I'm just saying that's a good, because people ask that as well. Using our devices as phone devices.
Right on. Yeah. So Chris, the producer, the wonderful producer, has asked, can we send voice through the Hologram network? And one of the ways that we negotiate such great carrier coverage and such great pricing is that we go to them and say we're only devices. And so the Hologram network is unable to make phone calls. So you can't send voice. The reason why you would have a phone number is to send an SMS message, which we can do, or send data, but no voice. VoIP is interesting, and I'll be doing further experiments with that in the future. But that's questionable right now if you want to do voice over IP.
And then final questions are, is there a link to today's code that you're using and or the video that we're watching?
Okay, so the last question was, is the video going to be available, and is the code that I used in the example going to be available? And the answer to both those is yes. So right after this video ends, it's going to be available as a recorded video for anyone to come back to Crowdcast and watch. Plus, Hackster is going to be posting it on their YouTube channel. So the video is definitely going to be available. The code is going to be available on Hackster.io. I'm going to make a project, and I'll make a GitHub repo and put that up there. Hopefully, by the end of the day, that will be up there. So I'll be able to share a link. The cool thing is you guys can come back to this Crowdcast page, and I'll post a link in the chat. And also, we'll go ahead and send an email out to everyone who's participated and let you know when it's ready.
Okay, last question. How can someone get a sweet hologram hoodie? That was the last question.
Oh, man. Okay, so the last question was, how can we get a hologram hoodie? So this is only for the employees so far. So this is exclusive. So nice plug for Hologram. You should definitely check out the jobs on Hologram. Chris, can we cut to the homepage really quick? I'm going to go here.
Yeah, come work for us.
Totally. Yeah, if you want a hoodie, come work for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to
we pay 10
Hologram careers. Yeah. Well, we got a lot of jobs available right now. So can I zoom into this really quick? Yeah. Yeah, so definitely, if any of these look good to you, I'll throw in a hoodie with an application. But if you guys really like the hoodie, I don't know, maybe we'll start making it available whenever people run into us at events. Yeah, cool.
It is cold in Chicago.
It is cold right now. All right, team, what time is it? It's 12:09. I think this wraps up this first webcast. I'm really excited that you guys joined us, and I'm really thankful that you worked with us and was patient with us through our first time doing this. I think Chris did a killer job. I think I got a lot of room to improve on, and I think the project really can move forward. And I'm really stoked for the next one that's coming up, which is the Gateway. So I believe that is on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, how do people register for? There was a question about that. How do people register for the next one? Do they automatically get registered?
Yeah, so Chris just asked me, how can we register for the next workshop? So the really cool thing about Crowdcast is that this same URL is going to be used for the whole series. Don't jump over my screen just yet.
Okay.
I'm going to go into Crowdcast and see if I can log out. Let's see here.
Here, look at our wonderful devices on the table.
Yeah, you don't want to look at me the whole time. Okay, cool. So if you guys want to cut in to my system. Here we go, cool. Whoa, look at that. And wow. Okay, so anyway, I just went ahead and clicked down here. The same URL and the same registration that you guys already signed up is good for all the sessions. Yeah, so November 14th is the next session. And you just got to come back to this URL. You're going to get a reminder through your email. You're already registered. But that being said, go ahead and get other people registered. I think we had about 100 people register for this one. And I really want to get as many people as possible in the next one, especially if you're a part of the contest, because gateways are really important. It's the thing that's going to get the highest marks when being judged. And so I definitely want you guys to be a part of it so you can see my boilerplate gateway and really take it from there. So right on. I think that was the last one then, right, Chris?
Yeah. Can you just show the
Cool.
the extra page one last time?
Yeah, totally. Woo-hoo. No limits. All right, fam. Thank you for being a part of this, and thank you for being part of the contest, and thank you to Hackster for such a great community and such a great platform. All right, everybody. Till next time. Have a great weekend.